Welcome back to Simple Truth. Hey, we're in the story of Joseph, and we finally made it to chapter 44, which, if you let me, I would go back into chapter 43, but we're not. So we're going to go with chapter 44. Let's start off in verse 1, right? It says this: Then he commanded the steward of his house, fill the men's sacks with food as much as they can carry, put each man's money in the mouth of his sack, and put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest with his money for the grain. And he did as Joseph told him. I want you to think about this story right now. This story has been going on for days and days and days, months, right? And imagine being the servant of Joseph, right? He's told to do this, right? And he must be thinking to himself, this is crazy. Right? This is crazy. Like, what? Like, I'm giving the money back. I gave the money back the first time, and then they brought double money back, and Joseph's acting like this, and there's all kinds of things that you're thinking. Is he putting one and one together and getting two, or is he getting three, or was he like what is he thinking? Right? This servant of Joseph's. Right? This time he's putting the money back in, but now he's taking Joseph's cup and putting it in a grain sack. Right? Of this brother that he wanted to see, that he made these people bring down. Right? Like, it's just. It's crazy, right? In the moment, you think about people who are looking at how God is working, right? God is always working around, we can be looking and observing other people's God moments, right? And we're like, this is crazy. It's crazy how this is happening and this is happening. It looks like God has done this and God's done this and God's done this, and you're trying to put it all together and come up with a puzzle. Here's the problem. Is that we're the puzzle pieces, not the puzzle maker or the puzzle doer or whatever puzzlers is, right? We're not the puzzler. What we are is the puzzle pieces, and God puts us in place, right? And then within our puzzle piece, he breaks that down into other little puzzle pieces. So imagine that. I like doing puzzles, 1,000-piece puzzles. My mom likes getting me the impossible puzzles to do, and I just don't do them because I know that they're going to get really, really frustrating. They sit in a box, and they're impossible for a reason. They're like double-sided, the exact same thing, and every piece is exactly the same. So, like, how do you do that, right? But God sorts all that out, and God can do the impossible puzzle. He actually likes the impossible puzzle, right? He doesn't leave it on the shelf and go with the easy Mickey Mouse one, right, where you can see the whole picture, so every piece is unique and you can find it on the box. God says, listen, you're the puzzle piece, and I'm breaking your puzzle piece down into little pieces for you, and then I'm taking your puzzle piece and making it bigger of the bigger puzzle piece with everybody else. And we're looking and we're observing, and this servant, he's observing craziness. But what does he do? It says he did it, right? Over and over in the Bible, I'm hit with this idea that it doesn't matter what people think about what God asks them to do. It matters if God has told them to do something, that they do it, right? You can think this is crazy. You can be like Gideon and ask for a couple tests. You can be like Moses and ask for a moment, and ask for an opportunity out. You can be like Joshua and think it's a little overwhelming. You can be like David and be totally like, hey, one minute I'm taking care of sheep, the next minute I'm anointing king. You can be all over the place. God doesn't ask you not to have thoughts about what he's asked you to do, but ultimately what he wants you to do is be obedient. Right? Are you willing to take his golden cup, put it in a sack, and set somebody up? Right? That's what God wants to know. Are you willing to do and be what he wants you to do and be? We talk about that all the time. We're living in a time now where the world is crazy. Doesn't make any sense what's going on. And God doesn't care about what you think about it. He wants to know, are you going to be obedient to what I've called you to do? Down here, we've been talking a lot lately about just being where you need to be. Are you in the right place at the right time? Right? Sometimes we get this urge to run away from things. Sometimes we get this urge to just go home and be home. Right? But if we do that, then we miss out sometimes on what God has for us. Sometimes we fall in love with a moment. God moves us and we have this great moment. We fall in love with it and we want to stay there forever. I can remember as a kid going to camp for the week, right? It was this oasis getaway, and all you want to do is be there all week long. And then it gets to the Friday night And there's this boo-hoo campfire that they have at the end of every, camp thing where everybody talks about and sings the song "Friends Are Friends Forever" and all of these things. Right, and we don't want to leave. We don't want to leave that moment. We come home, and it's not like camp. Right? Sometimes God moves us from moment to moment to moment. He never lets us fully grasp around. He never lets us fully, love and want to be planted somewhere, because he's like, no, you got to go to the next one, and to the next one, and to the next one. So I'm going to challenge you right there. Simple truth. Are you willing, right, to be used by God? Are you willing to be obedient in what he's asking you, even if you don't understand it? Hey, we'll see you next time. Simple truth. We might get a few more verses into chapter 44.